After this incident, Trump stood up, showed that he was fine, that "I am a strong leader here." How do you think this event can affect the course of the election race, affect the election results, and Trump's rating, respectively?
I think it's obviously going to be very influential. We have seen that after they tried to kill Reagan, his approval rating soared. I think that Trump's approval rating will not soar today as Reagan's, but it will rise. I have almost no doubt, and I have no doubt either, that this will have a serious effect on the election campaign. This will help a lot. You've all seen the picture already. Here's how he's with his fist in the air and with blood on his face. That's how he looks like such a strong man and all that. And compared to Biden, people will, I think, make a decision. And, therefore, on the other hand, I hope that the Democrats will understand, again, only from a political point of view, that they simply cannot continue to move forward with Biden, that this comparison will almost guarantee a win for Trump, and that the only option for the Democrats is to find someone other than Biden. And more, I see Democrats in Congress and elsewhere are beginning to understand this.
That is, do you think that even those people who supported Biden, that they will eventually lean towards Trump, or are we talking about those who have not decided and now they will support Trump?
The question is about two things. First, yes, those who have not decided, I think that now they will go more to Trump. And the second question in America is most of all who will come to the polls. This is not like convincing someone who is now supporting Biden to support Trump or vice versa, but to convince your people who already support your candidate to go to the polls so that they go out and vote. And so I think, thanks to what has just happened, those who are already supporting Trump are much more likely to come out and they will vote than those on the other side. At this moment, those who support Trump will look at him as a very impressive person. And those who will not look at Biden from the Democratic side quite the same way, which means that those who may not support Trump but support Biden, do not support either, they will simply stay at home. And because of that, I think we're going to see a shift in this election, and that shift, I think, will help Trump.
That is, based on your words, we can say that Americans will now choose more emotionally, because this incident is still a story that puts pressure on emotions than on logic than on reason?
Yes, absolutely, this is always the case. In our elections, I think it's true around the world, maybe people don't decide who they will support purely logically or for such political reasons. In reality, they make a decision because of emotions. This, again, is not all, of course, but it is the majority of voters who make the decision out of emotion. And yes, at this moment, Trump excites much more emotions than Biden. And again, I'm speaking for myself, of course. I think that Trump's rhetoric, what he says, what he wants to do and how he speaks, how he denounces his political opponents, how he tells all his supporters that the American media is the enemy of the people and that the Democrats are the enemy of the people, that they are bugs. And he used these words, that the Democrats and everything else, that they are bugs that spoil the American people. I think, of course, these words are very dangerous, and we must fight against such rhetoric.
Я считаю, конечно, эти слова очень опасны, и мы должны против такой риторики бороться.
But, of course, this should not even allow there to be such an idea that we can think that such violence can be done because of these problems, that it is normal, that it is absolutely abnormal.
Вот мы можем из-за этих проблем считать, что такое насилие можно делать, что это нормально, это абсолютно ненормально.
And those who understand the risks of Trump's rhetoric and Trumpism at the same time, and again I said at the very beginning that almost everyone does this, that they simultaneously condemn this assassination attempt.
Опять же, я говорил в самом начале, что почти все так делают, что они одновременно осуждают это покушение.
And at this moment, the most important thing that everyone in the United States can do is to condemn not only this assassination attempt, but all the violence in political life.
Не только это покушение, но и все насилие в политической жизни.
Because what I'm really most afraid of is that in the next few months we're going to start to see more and more of this kind of violence, and unfortunately from all sides.
Все больше и больше, и, к сожалению, со всех сторон.
Yes, it is worth saying here that not only was there an attempt on Trump's life, but also 2 people who were at this demonstration were killed, that is, people who, in fact, came just to support their candidate.
No, one person who came out to support his candidate died, and the other person who died is the one who tried to kill Trump. This is the one who is a murderer because he killed one person who just came to support his candidate. And I also have to say, in general, that this is not unique. This is not the first time that there has been such an attempt against a political figure in the United States. There was against former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. One also mentally ill man came to her house to kill her. He didn't find her at home, and instead he almost killed her husband. Her husband then spent a long time in the hospital, and he was badly injured. This is an elderly man, he was over 80. And what I think is noticeable is the difference between the reaction to these 2 assassination attempts. For today, everyone is condemning what happened yesterday. And then Trump himself mocked Pelosi's husband. And many, in general, are there. It is Trump's son on Twitter who released a photo where he showed his underpants and a hammer. Because that's the one that tried to kill Pelosi's husband, and he was in his underpants, and he had a hammer, and he was trying to kill him with a hammer, and he said that's his suit on his head, that he dressed like Pelosi. And such jokes, they are seriously dangerous. And such rhetoric is very dangerous. And I am very sorry and sad that our policy has led to this. And violence, no matter against whom, must always be condemned. And I am satisfied that everyone is condemning what happened yesterday. I hope that the next few weeks, a few months, will condemn violence, no matter which way it comes from.
Just now there is information from the Prime Minister. I apologize, Prime Minister of Slovakia Robert Fico. He said that this was an attempt. It was made as a carbon copy, very similar to the one that was committed against him in May of this year. We also know that here is the Prime Minister of Denmark, who was recently injured, Mette Frederiksen. Such a massive attack on world leaders. What do you think is the reason for this? And can these events be connected with each other?
What is the reason for this? I think that with the fact that in our political world, not only in the political world, I would say, just in society today, visions, I don't remember ever being serious, as they are today, where someone with whom you disagree is not only your rival, not only your opponent, this is your enemy.
Кто-то, с кем ты не соглашаешься, это не только твой соперник, не только твой противник, это твой враг.
And not only is he wrong, normal people can disagree with each other, but no, he is not only wrong, he is evil, he must be destroyed.
Он злой, его надо погубить.
And this kind of rhetoric has results. And now we see this around the world. And in general, and just as we all condemned what happened to Trump yesterday, so a few months ago, we condemned what happened to Fico, and I don't think these assassination attempts are related. I think that these are completely different things, and unfortunately, there are many patients in the world who use this rhetoric as an excuse to do something more aggressive, and to do something that, in general, normal people would never even think of doing.
Немало больных, которые используют эту риторику как повод делать что-то более агрессивное. И делать то, что, в общем-то, нормальные люди бы не
And what I will say next, what scares me a little bit, is that countries like Russia, China and other dictatorships will be able to use these visions and manipulate people to increase this violence.
Другие диктатуры, они сумеют использовать эти дивизии и манипулировать людей, чтобы увеличивать это насилие. Вот еще сильный риск, что эти дивизии...
There is also a strong risk that these visions are not only from the inside, but also from the outside. The dictators will be able to further manipulate to exaggerate these visions, and perhaps even try to kill those they want to kill, and use some person to do this, who already lives in the country, who may be sick or have some other problems.
Стараться там убить, которые они захотят убить, и использовать какого-то человека, чтобы это сделать, который уже живет в стране, который может быть... не болен или какие-то у него будут другие проблемы.
There are risks here. We have to fight against risks from all sides at this moment, and therefore, this is such a very dangerous moment. And on the one hand, I think that this is not related to each other, but on the other hand, of course, I hope that this will not continue.
С одной стороны, думаю, что это не связано друг с другом, но с другой стороны, конечно, я надеюсь, что это не будет продолжаться, но, конечно...
But there is a possibility that if this continues, then we will live in a completely different world.
В совсем другом мире жить.